Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be going through a demo of the Auto Archive Orders tool for WooCommerce. The video is going to be split into 4 parts. Part 1, where I will show the order archiving process. Part 2, where we will go through the settings of the Auto Archive tool. Part 3, where I'll just show the logs that the plugin generates. And part 4 will be the order restoration process. In this demo, the archived orders are stored in the same database as your WordPress site, just that we have created separate tables that are different from the core tables of WordPress and WooCommerce. This part is going to change since we are rebuilding the tool so that all the archived orders and the data will be stored on a remote server. Before we start the demo, let me just share with you the test environment that we have created for this particular demo. It's an InstaWP site with PHP 8.0. WordPress and WooCommerce are at the latest versions, WordPress 6.7.1 and WooCommerce 9.5.1. The WooCommerce site that I'm going to use has about 243,000 plus orders. Out of that, when we run the archiving, it should archive around 44,050 orders. And we only have 2 plugins on this particular store, which is WooCommerce and the Auto Archive Orders tool. This is not an ideal setup because any store will have more plugins, but we will start with these 2 for now. So let's dive into the demo. Let's take a look at the part 1, which is the order archiving demo. Now we are on this WooCommerce site where I have around 243,000 plus orders, as I have mentioned in the earlier part. So now we will activate the Auto Archive Orders plugin first. So let me do that simply by going on the plugins page from here. I activate the plugin, and now let's see what do we have inside of the plugins admin side. Since I have not archived any orders right now, you will not see any data being populated here. This is the part which comes from the tables, from the MySQL tables that we have created and which are separate from the core WordPress and WooCommerce tables. What we will do under the settings is I'll just quickly go through them. I'll run the archival script first, and then I will explain you the meaning of each of these settings. So bear with me. Activate operation mode, automatic. I want to archive orders created before 1 year. Currently completed status, run the command automatically. Every day, aggressively enable logs. I'll click on save settings, and since we want to run the archiving script immediately, I'll click on the run now button over here, and this will initiate the archiving process in about 60 seconds. Now let's take a look at part 2, which is explanation of the Auto Archive Order plugins settings page. Before we do that, it's approximately been 10 minutes since I paused the explanation of part 1, since the archiving started actually. So far, about 13,000 orders have been archived. I'll keep this page open, and I have the settings page open in another tab. So to give you an idea, because this is an InstaWP site with shared unlimited resources, since the archiving is going on, if we will refresh this page, it might take a slightly longer time than what it usually would, and we will see the progress that happens over there. So it was 13,000 orders before we hit the refresh button. It was 9,000 orders over here, and then I opened the dashboard on a new tab. So let's dive into the settings of the plugin. and I'll explain them to you as best as I can. So initially, this is in deactivated mode. You enable this setting, you activate the tool, and this settings would appear. The archive operation mode, it's manual or automatic. Automatic is what we have run right now, which means it will not require any manual intervention, and it will continue archiving all the orders that fall into this criteria. For example, in this case, all the orders that have been generated before 1 year, they will continue to be archived. The manual mode essentially allows you to archive the orders from the edit order page, or choose them from the WooCommerce orders page and manually archive them. Now, this setting would actually go away, and at all times, you will be able to archive the orders manually, as well as the automatic mode will always be available. This one we already have been through. This auto archive order status setting, what it does is you just need to choose the different WooCommerce order statuses which you want to be archived. Currently, we have enabled this only for one. We have enabled the selection for only one particular status. This will change, and this will be converted to so that multiple statuses can be added over here. Cron job, this is the actual archiving script where you can choose whether you want to run manually. If you want to run manually, it will give you a URL. And in case of automatic, it will be as it's running right now. Now, please note that since we are reconfiguring and rebuilding this tool to a SaaS solution, this part would go away. Same for the cron job operation schedule as well, because this will be part of the server side of the SaaS tool, and it will not be part of the WordPress plugin. Then we have a very smart setting called cron job running mode. This too would go away, but we would still use it on the backend, on the SaaS side in some way. There are two modes over here, light and aggressive. So what happens is, to tell you the difference between the two, so when the script is set to run lightly, it processes, I think it was, so the light mode would run for 60 seconds. It would then take a pause and then again resume, after some time. Whereas in the aggressive mode, it will continue to run for 300 seconds and then it will take a pause. Similarly, the batch size in terms of the number of orders, in the light mode, it is 20 orders, whereas in the aggressive mode, it is about 100 orders. And in the light mode, we are using only 40% of the total memory, whereas in the aggressive mode, we would use about 85% of the total memory for the archiving operation. So that's the difference in both. This part too, will not be something that you would be interacting with once we launch this tool. The save option for archived orders, again, this would also go away, since we no longer will have the save in-house option, because all the data would be stored remotely. All the orders would be stored remotely, and they will also be restored from the remote server back to your WordPress WooCommerce site. Logging, this is again something that is essential for a tool like this. So you will see this setting as well. And reset usage tracking, that this one will go away, because this will now reside on the SaaS side of things. So let's take a pause. Let's see how many orders has it managed to archive since we refresh it. So it was 13,140 when we refresh this page. It's now about 18,500. If we again refresh it, we should see an updated number in about a minute. Now, please remember that this is taking some time because it's a shared site hosted on InstaWP with very limited resources. And effectively, this is the reason why this archiving operation would actually be done on a remote server and not on your WordPress site. So now let's take a look at the archived orders page. I am assuming this too might take a few more seconds than it should usually. So the archived orders page did take a few more seconds to load than it would usually, because the archiving script is still running. Now, before I proceed on this page, I'll also open the WooCommerce orders page in a separate tab, so it can continue to load while we talk about the archived orders page. So these orders that have been archived, they are actually coming from the tables, the MySQL tables that we have created as part of the auto archive orders tool, and these are no longer visible in the as part of the WooCommerce orders. So effectively, we are just removing a chunk of the WooCommerce orders and putting them in under the archived mode. Now, if you see the orders page, it was about 243,000 plus orders which we had when we started. The status as of right now, it is 211,000 orders with 31,700 orders that have already been archived. So if you add the two, it would roughly be the same number, and the archiving process is still going on. So let's say if we just want to take this particular order number 240718, and if we search that on in the orders page 240718, this order would not be visible over here. Again, this is the archiving script which is causing some time for the for all the operations that we will do on the back end. So yeah, we'll need to bear with that. In the meanwhile, so on this page, on the archived orders page, you will have the option to filter the orders based on dates. Now, since we archived all orders that were 1 year or older on this particular store, I only had orders that have been created in October 2023, and only those with a completed status. So you can filter them based on dates. You can filter them based on the customer name that of these orders, and then you can either let's say you can select them and restore them from the bulk actions over here, or you can click on this particular restore button under the actions column, and you can restore any particular order manually as well. So this one has still not it has still not loaded. Right, so the search operation for this particular order number did take some time, I think in the range of 3 minutes or so, and in the meanwhile the number of orders that have been archived have increased. But as you can see, this was the order that we were looking for, 240718. It's no longer present on the WooCommerce orders tab. And now let's try to restore this one order back, 240718. I will click on restore. It will ask me for a confirmation. So it says the archived order has been restored. Now it's no longer visible over here, and if we will refresh this page, so now that order is back. Fortunately, this refresh happened much quicker than the earlier operations. So this is how you can switch between any orders. Let's say if we go for another order, 243435. It's not there, and if we restore, let's say 35, 36 and 37, all three of them, and they have been restored. I'll refresh over here. And here it is. So if we search for the other orders that have been restored, we will find them as well. So yeah, this is how it works. This is how the archiving and the restore options work. Now if we move to the part 3, which is the log part. So now as you can see over here, the last so it will appear, all the log entries will appear, based on the most recent log entry appearing on the top. This is when it started searching for orders that may need archiving. It found 44,000 odd orders, and then periodically it kept on logging messages. For example, if you see here, the auto archive process has been paused temporarily as the standard limit has been exceeded, and a total of 7,600 orders have been archived. Similarly, it will pause, as I mentioned earlier, at every 300 seconds, and eventually it would put an entry over here that the auto archive process has been dispatched or has been completed. This is about the log section. This is very useful to identify when certain, when the script might fail, or when the archiving is left incomplete in certain situations. This is where you need to check into. So yeah, part 4 was actually the order restoration process, which we have already seen. Thereby we have completed all the parts that were meant for this video. Yeah, it has taken a bit more time. The archiving script itself has taken a little bit more time than what we had expected, because this being a shared server with limited resources, and this is exactly one of the reasons why we are moving all this onto a remote tool and making this into a SaaS SaaS-based tool. So that's it for this video. If you have any comments or questions, do let us know. And thank you for watching. Bye.